Hey everybody, the Raiders won a historic first game that went as I said it was going to go in our NFL preview last Monday. I thought it was going to be a close contest that the Raiders would win, but the Panthers offense would give them problems.
So preview
And
last Monday, I thought it was going to
pretty
be
much exactly what
a
happened.
close contest that the Raiders would win, but
The Raiders narrowly escaped 34-30 because for some odd reason Panthers offensive coordinator Joe Brady decided to give on a 4th and inches the ball to his fullback rather than Christian McCaffrey. It was very much one of those overthinking odd duck moves akin to the one that caused the Seattle Seahawks to lose to the New England Patriots when they elected to throw the ball and was intercepted famously in the Super Bowl in Phoenix rather than give the ball to Marshawn Lynch and let him do his bread and butter work. Very wild that happened. But hey, look, congratulations to the Raiders. They are off to a good start, and let's just take a look at the stats. In this contest, it went like this. Of course, you know the score. That's the stat of all, right? But first downs, close. Raiders 23, Panthers 22. 11 for the Raiders by rushing, 13 for the Panthers by rushing, which I found surprising. By passing. Sorry about that. By passing, I expected that. By rushing, 10 for the Raiders, 8 for the Panthers. I expected more of their first downs to be by passing anyway. But I didn't expect 8. First downs by penalties, 2 for the Raiders, 1 for the Panthers. Third down efficiency, Raiders 6 of 11. Panthers 7 for 13. Fourth down efficiency, Panthers 1 of 2. Raiders didn't. John's not going to take those risks unless they're an absolute sure thing, and even then, maybe almost never. Total plays, Panthers, as I expected they might do, given their style, ran off more plays than the Raiders, but not by many. 61-65. In fact, I'm reading this off to you, but I'm using StreamYard, which means, hey, I can use the magic here, right? And rather than just read these things to you mindlessly, all right, I can share screen, right? So, and that's precisely what I'm going to do. And here it is, the team statistics that I'm reading to you. Hey, let me get some of your comments. Yeah, I called this Chaos Raider because a number of people on Twitter were pointing at Chase Young, who I interviewed, by the way, at the NFL Combine, the Redskins' first-round pick. And I have a video from training camp where Chase Young was just destroying Washington Redskins offensive line challengers. Hey, by the way, the Saints and the Bucs are on now. The Saints have the ball to start. And I think that with Cam Newton winning as he did, the pressure's on Brady now because the Patriots just proved, the Patriots just proved that, well, hey, look, Belichick's a great coach, right? I mean, I kept saying that you can't just walk into another place and because you're Tom Brady think that people are under the impression everything's going to be hunky-dory. No. So anyway, Henry Ruggs really did look good. We need to check more about that knee. Our defense really needs work, and the Raiders still have an issue, I think, with dealing with teams that play fast. And on that, and the Panthers are one of those teams. The trouble is that I didn't expect the Panthers to be more so focused on throwing deep as they were. I thought they would throw more short, quick, court passes. And the fact that they didn't caused this game to turn out different than I expected. And I want to turn out and look at the full coach's tape, on this. So, Carr's never had a problem with Derek Carr. Right? And I was more concerned with the kind of scheme that John was going to run and how it evolved. But someone criticized Derek, and I pointed out that on our live stream on Monday, and I said, Carr threw for 4,000 yards last year for the second time in his career, and his percentage completion numbers were the best in his career. So John has really improved Derek into a top-flight timed passing quarterback. He really has. He says, because Breeze will have a field day next week. Yeah. Oh, this is it. Absolutely. I mean, the Panthers basically revealed that the Raiders have a new defense where they shouldn't in linebackers. And when you have to communicate with each other, as I said before, and learn to communicate in a new defense, and stack that on in a regular schedule and stack on top of that the pandemic, it's a long day. I mean, they did well to get out of this situation because they run an effective ball control passing offense, okay? And so Gunther definitely needs to mix up pressure. But how about, criticizing the defense as we are, I have to give a hat tip to Carr Nassib. That is one underrated guy. Here is Joseph Amanduras. Hey, Joseph, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. Hey, so put you on the spotlight here. What'd you think of the win?
I think it's a great win. Any win's a great win with the Raiders, right? So, my vlog in the first quarter, I was a little problematic for me. There was a couple of things, but, it's the first game, no OTAs, no preseason games, and there's some jitters, I thought. But was surprising enough, I think the first half went to Carolina because consider this, and I didn't even know if you brought this up earlier. New head coach, new OC, new quarterback. I thought if you look and analyze specifically the first quarter, I thought the Carolina Panthers looked well prepared, and it seemed like they were all on the same page. Now, when we went throughout the game, you see that start reversing.
And a brand new defense, too.
Right. And so, but slowly but surely, that started to decrease, and you see the opposite happen. Now, I thought with all the superstars, or what I call superstars, but with all the great defensive players that we have acquired, that we have, I didn't think we did very well. I mean, we stuffed the run towards the end, but considering when you watch the first half of the game, and I just was watching the press conference, that's why I wasn't earlier. Even John Abrams himself said that we played sloppy, and I noticed that.
Tom Brady's first pass as a Buck, he throws a deep completion out of bounds to number 14. I believe Chris. His name just flew out of my head. No, I think flew out of my head. But they're on the move. They're at midfield, just down for a loss by the Saints. But just wanted to note that, by the way.
What? So that's live right now.
That's live. Yeah.
I'm gonna try to look for it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's live. So go ahead. You were saying.
I'm trying to think where I left off. Okay,
what he's saying is absolutely right. Belichick is a good coach. I've always said that, and I said again that he's going to start Newton, and he's going to really show to people that this is about football, and he's a good football player, and that's what he did. Yeah, that was the Patriots are now at a third down situation. In the first half, they had that was Ronald Jones who ran the screen. And they got a 3rd and 2, and they're playing an empty backfield against the Saints, which are countering the press defense. And Brady's back to throw. He's throwing deep, though. And, whoop, that is incomplete. So, flag, though. Marshawn Lattimore is going to be called for pass interference. And, yep. There was definitely a lot of face guarding. Yeah, there's a lot of face guarding. That was an automatic PI. So the Bucs live, and they're going to be first and goal. Yep, they're going to be first and goal.
So what I noticed with I had to get the NFL ticket to watch the Raider game. This is a national game, so this is not the NFL ticket. So I had to get out of the app.
Yeah, there's Ronald Jones. I don't see Leonard Fournette. Ronald Jones, for those of you who are used to Leonard Fournette, is number 27. Ronald Jones for the Bucs wears 27. So I don't quite know how they're going to. I know they're going to rotate him in. I just don't know how. The Raiders SP says, funny how NFL people are surprised. I'm not surprised.
About what?
About Cam Newton. So he's saying,
oh yeah.
As I said last Monday, I expected a win. And I said that people don't get that Cam Newton is a very intelligent football player, and that they're going to put him in a system that emphasizes, since we're talking about him, let's take a look at that. But anyway, emphasizes what he does best, which is also throw. So thanks for that comment. Anyway, you were saying, Joseph?
Just going back to the defense, what I was saying is that Abrams even said himself that they played sloppy. So that was self-evident. And then one of the problems I mentioned before, one of the problems that we have is it's a constant revolving door of players. Mm-hmm. So how should we – I mean, I expect more, but how should we expect anything else?
Well, I mean, I think that, again, I look at, for example, Nelson Aguilar has always been a favorite receiver of mine, and that was an excellent signing by Mayock, okay? Aguilar has done well with the Eagles. He's done well with the Bears. And he got caught a touchdown catch for the Eagles in their Super Bowl. You remember that? He caught the first one in Super Bowl 54. So I think now,
ironically, real quick, in today's game, he came in after Henry Ruggs left the game. He scored a touchdown after Henry Ruggs left the game.
That's what I was referring to. Yeah. And it wasn't talked about much about his contribution, because when he was brought in, I thought they didn't have to worry about Williams' injury anymore, because I felt that Aguilar is every bit as good as Williams, if not better. And I've always felt that. So the Buccaneers look like they've scored. They did. The Buccaneers scored. And Tom Brady gets all around congratulations, and he gets the spike. So the Bucs scored on their first drive under the helm with Tom Brady under the helm. And which has got to be something of a relief to him after any quarterback sneaked it, by the way, after undoubtedly hearing that, hey, Cam Newton has taken over your team, buddy. He's made it his own. That's a lot. That was a lot of pressure. Now let's see if the Saints answer. But they had the Buccaneers had the kind of drive and the kind of approach that they didn't have with Jameis Winston. The play action fake. Under Jameis, they would go straight back and throw, and they quite literally leave him. They would throw him to the wolves of the pass rush. So that's why I said this whole thing was racist, because with Jameis, it was like, we'll do this. But with Tom, it's like, we'll change it for you and for what you want. And it's not like Jameis isn't smart enough to know, and he is very smart. Steve Mariucci said he was the best person he's ever had in front of a whiteboard talking about Jameis Winston. So it's not like they could not have asked of Jameis Winston the same set of questions, like, what do you want? Instead, they're force-feeding down Jameis' throat what they wanted. He's young and doesn't have the rings to tell them, hey, look, that's not going to work. So he suffers under their stupidity. But here comes Brady, and everything gets changed. Wow. So, with that, it's a new Bucs team on offense in terms of approach. That much is certain. I mean, I saw that much right off the bat. Okay, and then they tried screen passes. They weren't the throw deep Bucs. And when they did throw deep, they did it after play action. They didn't drop back to throw deep. So their offensive line problems, you can mask those by slowing the pass rush down with play action, right? And that's what they were doing. They were playing smart ball for a change. Wow. Anyway, so going back to the stats for the Raiders game, overall, 372 yards for the Raiders, 388 yards. You were talking, Joseph, about the running and how the defense stopped them toward the end. But did you notice that the Panthers didn't give the ball to Christian McCaffrey?
No, I did. That's what I mentioned. Yeah, they give it to the fullback.
Yeah. What was up with that? That was stupid.
And the thing I pointed out throughout the whole game, Christian McCaffrey was just mowing down the Raiders.
Yeah.
And so that didn't make any sense. And that's rookie head coach mistake, I suspect.
Well, I said, I apologize, I didn't get a chance to see your video because I was in the middle of getting ready for this one, and I saw it pop up. But I said that my thought is it's not so much a rookie head coach mistake as a mistake of one who analyzes too much, because remember, the Seahawks made the same mistake in Super Bowl 53.
With Marshawn Lynch.
With Marshawn Lynch. Yeah. And they said the analytics told them that if the Patriots had a certain, approach or statistical pattern to throw rather than give it to Marshawn, when everyone in the building is like, we don't care about that. Just give it to Marshawn and let him score.
Now, there's two players in this game that I was impressed with, besides the obvious players or the obvious. One is not surprising, which was Renfro. This guy is solid every time, and he just plays and plays, and he gets Derek Carr out of a jam. That's how I see Renfro. And then the second player that I was impressed, because I don't think we gave him that much of Devontae Booker. I'll just put it that way. Devontae Booker, at least for his first couple of series, when they're resting Jacobs, he did great. And I was impressed with Devontae Booker, because I didn't expect much with Devontae Booker coming in.
A good trap, a good camp. But by the way, on the Saints just picked up 8-9 yards in their first carry and their second set of downs for the game. Just a note.
Now, this game will be good to study, because the next opponent for the Raiders is the New Orleans Saints.
Right. Absolutely. And not only that, the Buccaneers offense that they're running now, the style is similar to what John Gruden would do more this year than last year. Last year's Buccaneer offense isn't anything where I think John would say, okay, I'll use this or I'll use that. It was so completely different. This offense, it's not drastically different, but it's different in areas that are of detail. Like, for example, using play action, which is something that they didn't do a lot of last year, or screens. So the idea of ball control or ball control offense was an anathema to last year's Buccaneers. they had plays that they used to try to control the ball, but they weren't a ball control offense. They were a big play offense. And they didn't have an offensive line coaching style. They had the linemen, but the kind of what they were asking to do, the linemen to do, didn't match a deep passing game. And I mean, hand blocks, and I don't really believe in 7-step drops anyway, but that's what they were having Jameis Winston do. And I don't believe them because today's defensive lineman is so incredibly athletic that you're asking offensive linemen to do the impossible more often than not, or get injured trying more often than not. So it's better to just throw short. There are some teams that, if they run the Bill Walsh style of offense, they have a long time ago taken the 7-step drop system out of their playbook, quite literally deleted it, and for good reason. It's a relic of the past. So so now the Bucs defense really has come to play, and if they keep playing like this, and with Drew Brees walking off the field because they have to punt, guess what? The Bucs are going to walk away with a win, and that playoff Buccaneers team that everybody's talking about just very moment may be a reality, because the Bucs team was that good defensively last year, but they had a big play offense that turned the ball over because it wasn't designed. It was designed for completions. It wasn't designed to hold on to the ball, and they had people that were it was brand new to the people who were playing it. Here's Joseph. Here's Donald Richardson. Donald, how are you?
All right, how you guys doing?
What's up, Donald?
What do you think of the Raiders win? Hello, Mr. Richardson.
Looks like he got frozen out.
Let's bring him back when he gets frozen in. I'll put him on the side. Hey,
Can
Donald.
I bring up two topics real quick?
Yeah. Hey, Donald, we'll bring you back. Yeah, definitely.
So, Henry Ruggs and Trent Brown. After the first series in the first quarter, Trent Brown was out, and I saw him being worked on the sideline. So it turns out I initially thought it was a hamstring. It was a calf muscle, and so he had a calf muscle that he didn't return. And then when I was watching the press conference with regards to Henry Ruggs, he had a knee injury, and though he left the game in the second quarter and came back to finish the game, we still don't know how impactful that injury would be moving forward, even though he finished the game.
Right. That's we'll find out. That's one of those things that you get a better handle on 2 days later. Unfortunately, because they tend to develop as time goes on. Hey, Donald, you with us? Oh, Donald. Old MacDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I-O.
And we just see a quarter of them.
I know. We got one side of it. Got one side of him. And okay, so when he comes back, he comes back. So I think what's going on. Let me see if we can do this. I won't kick him though. I'll put him on the side. Let's see. Hey, Donald, when are you coming back? I agree here. Gruden actually made in-game adjustments. Yeah, he did. I think John finally got down how to adjust his game plan and how to go in and make changes. And because that was a big problem. Hey, Donald. Oh, Donald. So anyway, yeah. So here come Brady's got the ball for the second time. And the hands now are in the Saints defense because and the Saints defense is stuffing the run. They really are. The Bucs have to fool around. They're in a game where if they're not careful with the ball, if they turn it over once, the complexion changes immediately. So Tom, and I say that because the way the Saints defense is playing, and the Bucks right now, their offensive game plan is not doing the job. And here goes the down for the loss. Cameron Jordan from Cal. Oh, excuse me, Roach. Sorry, Roach. I mean, they're starting to manhandle the Bucks. That was not a funny tackle. I'm sorry, folks. That was not a funny tackle. Donald, can you hear us? Mr. Richardson.
Yes.
What do you think? What are your thoughts about the game? We're trying to get you to say something, man.
There's like a long pause in between whatever you're saying.
Oh.
I think it's on your end, Donald, because you're swerving. It's almost like you're swerving in slow motion when you start moving around. So I think it might be your connection.
Yeah, I'm trying to get that under control.
All right.
Let me bounce that.
So while he's doing that, let me make a point because they brought up John Gruden. What I did notice is John Gruden, I was watching the whole game. I was trying to look at him as much as possible, as opposed to previous season or specifically last year when he's either discombobulated and he starts doing that Chucky face and staring at people and giving this grin.
The Buccaneers are punting for the first time.
Well, this particular series or this game, you didn't have that. He seemed like he was more well in control and more calm than I ever seen him before in recent history.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good thing. Although, he was wearing a mask.
Well, no, he was wearing a mask under his chin. I don't know if different points that you saw he had his mask on, but he primarily had it under his chin, which I don't consider wearing a mask.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I'm not willing to say. I think, if anything, John's getting older.
Oh, that too.
And I think that's a big thing right there because, look, just John, he's not the spring chicken he used to be. I mean, heck, I'm not the spring chicken I used to be. Right?
Yeah, he seems more calm.
That comes with age.
Yeah.
It just comes with age. And after a while, the stuff that used to get excited about, that's whatever kind of energy you want to say it comes from, the fact of the matter is that energy goes away. That energy goes away after time. But look, this was John Gruden when I met him in 1998. That's me with a mustache and the tie. I think you've seen this before, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, look at that baby face. Okay. I mean, that was John Gruden in 1998. And where we were at, and by the way, folks, for those of you who have not seen this picture before, this was when I was economic advisor to the mayor of Oakland, Elihu Harris. And later I had the effort to bring the Super Bowl to Oakland. We lost to Jacksonville. But I was invited, thanks to Amy Trask, to the Raiders luxury suite party at the Raider headquarters. And so that photograph is what you're looking at. If you know Raider headquarters in Oakland or what it looked like, those walls, you'll recognize the walls and the glass in the background. The fellow on the very left in the red, Jeff, whose last name I'm going to butcher. I think it's Furkula, but he was Mike Tyson's cut doctor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's what he was. That's his claim to fame. That's what he was doing when I was introduced to him by Charlie Santana Jr., my buddy who I talked to a few weeks ago, who I have my arm around on the right. So, yeah. So, again, look, we're not getting younger. It happens. And by the way, here's Mr. Richardson. Hey, John. Hey, John. Donald is back. Donald, so what say you?
So far, pretty interesting day in football.
Yeah, what do you think of the Raiders game?
Kind of went 50-50 like I thought. I'm glad they pulled it out in the end. It was a good game. It was an exciting game. So I'm happy with the result. Obviously, being a Raider fan, but there's some things I'm not happy about,
Which are
like our defense. Particularly, we're still obviously thin at linebacker.
mm-hmm.
That is going to be. It looks like it's just going to be horrendous the whole season. But and then our cornerbacks on the back end, it's going to be a learning curve there. So, not a bad showing for even if they would have lost the game, I think I would still feel the same way that I do now. So
I felt there was a trap game to begin with because of the unknowns. There were so many unknowns, and I give the Raiders credit. Wow, a great throw by Drew Brees. I give the Raiders credit for, first of all, mastering the move. Let's get that out of the way. They went from one venue to the other. They went from one training camp situation to another. They did so in the middle of a pandemic. And then, on top of all that, they had to face a team which had a brand new coach, a brand new defense, no video on what it had done.
No tape, yeah.
And they had to travel on top of all that. They had to travel cross country, going from the West Coast, where it's early in the morning, your body clock's different, to the East Coast. So I give them full credit. And again, I didn't expect them to blow out the Panthers. In fact, I was most surprised when it was 27-15. And look, got a Buccaneer injured here, one of the linebackers. But hats off completely to the Panthers for engineering a comeback, because with 9 minutes and 31 seconds elapsed in the third quarter, their drive that started down on their, I believe on their 30, it went like this. It went 2 yards to it went incomplete short pass. How do you have an incomplete short pass and then incomplete deep pass? Oh, and then excuse me, incomplete short pass, then a sack. Carl Nassib and Maurice Hurst sack. And then an incompletion. And that was the time when they were already behind. So they gave the ball back to the Raiders, and the Raiders promptly scored. So after that, the Panthers decided to adjust and really go for home run ball. And they tried double move pass patterns, which they tried pass patterns you don't see a lot of, which I think the Raiders should take note. You need time to throw that pass, like the one that Fitzgerald caught. That was a double move. He went up, and then he went out, and then he went up again, and slightly to the inside, and was wide. And it wasn't wide, it was wide open. What happened was it was one of those patterns that's designed so that you feel like you're going to get the linebacker rotating into the flat zone this way, and then the cornerback. Actually, rather, the cornerback coming up in the short zone. And then the safety is supposed to go back and cover that corner. If that safety is late, you've got a hole right here you exploit. If you have a receiver that's going up and then to the sideline and then like that, he exploits that hole. That's what they did. That's exactly what the Panthers did. You need time to do that. And they had the time to do it, completed it, and the result was a 75-yard catch and run touchdown. That's the only big play of the game. And the Raiders defense gave it up. So, and again, I think we would be talking about a different game if Christian McCaffrey had the ball on a 4th and inches. Of course, if the Raiders stopped him, we would really be talking about a different game. but neither happened. Okay, it was one of those. Well, I'm gonna, as I was saying before you arrived, Donald. It was one of those. I'm going to outsmart myself. Let me see if I can outsmart myself. John Carl says, "Viva Las Vegas," echoing Elvis Presley. 49ers up 10-7. That's a close game.
So I got a message earlier from one of the Vinsters, and actually,
One of the
one of the people that follows you.
Oh, Zinsters, thank you. Yes.
His name is Brock Thompson. He's from Oakland, California. Well, he lives in Oakland, California, and he's a Bears fan. And he wanted me to say, "Way to go, Mitch Trubisky," because I guess I roasted Mitch Trubisky so bad that he wanted me to say it on the show. So I told him I'd give Mitch Trubisky his props.
Look, we all did. Okay, I certainly take my lumps there too. It wasn't so much that I was roasting Mitch Trubisky. I am not a fan of the Bears' offense. I am a fan of it, but I'm not a fan of how it is evolved after defenses have caught up to it. Here goes Drew Brees is running. Drew has the funniest run. It's not really a run. It's more like a scamper. I mean, what happened was he was in not I formation, but single back. He did one of those play action fakes that are in vogue where you play action with a single back, and he was flushed out of the pocket. But the run was more like a scamper than a run. It was more like I'm running, but I really don't know how to run. It was kind of funny. But at any rate, but as far as the Bears, the offense that Matt Nagy brought in from the ACC and then modified to the NFL, I felt, oh, by the way, here's Joe Burrow he ran for his first touchdown, and he's up. Guess what? Bengals are up 7 against the Chargers. So looky there. And Breeze is back. He's throwing. I don't know where that ball was going. Almost picked off. Raiders SP says, "Is the value Larry Fitzgerald is the Vince Carter of the NFL still playing good?" Anthony Maracino, if I pronounced his last name correctly, says, "Carlson, Moreau, all good, stepped up and really helped us get this dub. Solid game all around considering how young this team is." I agree. And he says, "That's a rookie coach mistake from the Panthers." Completely rookie coach. Yeah, all around. That's a game they're going to want back. They're going to really want that one back. So now you have the 3rd and 3 for the Saints, and they just converted. They are now on the Panthers. Excuse me. They are now on the Buccaneers 12. So they're on the move, and it feels like they're gaining control of the contest. Surely, But anyway, I guess, folks, can we all agree that the NFL is back? That
we all agree that the NFL is back. Maybe I'm missing something, but I've been trying to catch the beginning of all the games.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that every game was supposed to, they were going to have a tribute, lift every voice. And I've only seen it in one game.
Which game was that?
And that was the Raider game.
I've seen it. What happens is they play it. The tribute is played at the 37-minute mark before the top of the hour, before the start of the game. And if you think about what I told you, if the game starts at 4:25, then by the time, then it's quite possible that televisions won't pick it up. Let me put it this way. There's not a concerted effort to make sure people see it. Okay, I think that, let me just get to the bottom there. And there are people who don't want us to hear Lift Every Voice and Sing. I happen to think it's a beautiful song, but I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you what, I got Lift Every. I don't know when you first heard it, Donald, or if you heard it in school, Joseph, but I got Lift Every Voice and Sing in elementary school. The Saints scored a touchdown. Alvin Kamara, who's now, I believe, the highest paid running back in the NFL. They scored a touchdown, and they did it in an excruciatingly, guttingly style with a Drew Brees scamper, with effective short passes. But it was a long drive. It was a long, back-breaking drive. That's exactly what they executed. But at any rate, so this is this is a game of tests. And Brady passed one test with that first drive and score, but now he's got to pass another one. Can he match it and move forward? And he's got a harder job than Cam Newton had. Cam Newton came in, and I think people have already forgotten Tom Brady in New England. One person tweeted, "Now we see how Tom Brady held back the Patriots." That's what this person wrote. I thought, wow, I wouldn't say that, but you know, wow. But as far as Lift Every Voice and Sing, I got it in elementary school. When did you hear it, Joseph and Donald?
I just heard recently, and what I was going to mention too. Yeah, I think it's obviously there's a reason why they're playing it so early, because, like you mentioned, it was like 37 to the hour. I mean, and because it's only 5 minutes to game time that they play the national anthem.
Right.
So what I found interesting is that I don't know if it's an NFL rule, but the players stood locked in arms the whole time, or at least during the playing of the song, and they just stood there waiting for the national anthem for about 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think what you're seeing is in my view, an uneven introduction to the song. Like, I grew up in Chicago during the heart of the civil rights movement. Okay, and I'm not saying my mom is here. Was in the middle of it. In fact, my mom worked for first the post office and then United Airlines, and we were doing well. In fact, in particular, and I don't want to get too personal, but you know, I think I had a great life. You know, we weren't in a poor neighborhood, we weren't in a ghetto or anything like that by far at all. No, and it was instilled upon us. Even this was when Jesse Jackson had just risen to power as a celebrity, as an activist celebrity, as we would now call him. Okay, and I had a button on that said "I am somebody," and Mom said, "You don't need to wear that. You don't need a button to know you're somebody." And she made me take it off. And so, at an early age, I knew who I was as a black person. I got so the symbolism was driven into me to a point where I got sick of it, to be blunt. So much so that when I came out to California, it was actually a relief not to have it, because I felt like it was another world and I was in more mainstream society. You know, it's kind of where I wanted to be. And prior to that, I only really got that when we were traveling on United. So, but I came to really appreciate it because I find a number of us who have never heard, they don't know their heritage as a black person. I mean, because they didn't have the position of having it driven down them as kids. I mean, like when you're in your single digits, you know what I mean? And into your teens. Because it's a good grounding to have, so that later in life you're not looking for these cues about what it is to be black and judging other people. You know who you are, and I find that if you know who you are, then you're less likely to. Hold on a second. Um, you okay? Yeah. You guys keep talking. I'm going to take care of something real quick. Okay. I'll be
All right.
right. I'll be right back. I'm
Well,
gonna,
to your point, Donald, I was going to mention was that they should make that mandatory to play it, because I don't like this optional stuff, because that gives a way out for maybe certain political factions not to do it. Because why would you say, oh, we gave it to the NFL to play and it's up to them whether or not they want to play it? I don't like that. It's almost like saying the same thing. Well, we gave the players an option whether or not to wear a face shield on the mask to protect themselves. I mean, that's the stupidest thing. I think that's something they should have made mandatory, because Oakley went out of their way.
guys. Hey, Tom Brady got intercepted. It's number one. I'll be right back. Just want to let you. Tom Brady got intercepted. That's number one.
All right.
Jameis. I'll be right back.
But I don't know what you thought about that. I think they should have made it mandatory instead of making it optional.
Yeah, the way they were promoting it during the off season, it made it sound like it was going to be mandatory, and everybody across the league and across the nation, across the world, was going to hear this song. And it's been like a big fat nothing. So I was kind of just kind of disturbed about that, because I was looking for it and looking for it and looking for it, but then like I thought about this, and I was trying not to be too a conspiracy theories type person, but remember when I talked to you guys about that I knew that there was going to be booing in Kansas City when they talked about Black Lives Matter and all of that stuff, because in that area, it has nothing to do. It really has nothing to do with the team that they were playing or anything like that. In that area, it is like a real racial divide, and it's horrible. So I'm thinking when the NFL, heard, and as it was reported on about all the booing, they were just like, okay, we're gonna take a step back from this and not force it down the fans' throats. That's what my take was on it, in which I think is cowardly, but
Yeah, because it contradicts what the NFL. See, the NFL always speaks on both sides of their mouth, because they say they're going to take action and do things, and then the actions they do take are so it's so it's not relevant. And then you go and say, oh, we're going to, like you mentioned, it gave the impression they were going to have the first national anthem played before the American national anthem. I mean, well, the one that the Raider game had, but it made it give the impression that it was going to be a big fanfare and it was going to be right before the national anthem, and obviously it wasn't. And then with regards to the booing, they're even trying to spin that, because then it started coming out, well, somebody in the audience said Trump 2020, and that's when their booing started. And then they said, oh, it's because they were saying Chiefs, go Chiefs, and that's what sounded like the boos. But J.J. Watt himself said it was booing.
Right. There are Chief players that said it was booing. So I believe it was booing. And I'm going to just leave it at that. I mean, I do feel like in this country, because we pride ourselves on saying it's a free country. If you feel like you want to boo, you can boo. But what Americans need to realize, there are consequences that come with this freedom. There are consequences. You don't like they don't like the protesting, they don't like the rioting, they don't like the marches, they don't like these commercials. If you don't like that stuff, you need to change your attitude, and maybe there won't be so much of it. That's what I would say to America.
And if you really think about it, America was founded on protest and revolution. So why would you be against it? And this is the other thing I want to bring up. Think about this. When white people protest, it's called an honorable revolution. When minorities protest, it's called terrorism.
Right. Right. I bring up the the biggest riot in American history, the Boston Tea Party. They burned ships, they burned stores, they took goods and threw them over into the river, and it made world news. Before the internet, before even decent newspapers, that the Boston Tea Party made world news. So it had to be bad. It had to be bad. So I don't know. A lot of people in this country, I guess, I don't know. They either honor the history that they think benefits them, or
well, that's what it is. I mean, at least traditionally, it's always been revisionist history that we're taught in school. I mean, when you consider that to benefit the whole idea of manifest destiny, they decided to call Indians savages because that was their rationale for stealing their land and their property.
Right.
So it's always been revisionist history, and the more you delve deep into it, the more you find out the truth. Now, just because we're pointing out the truth doesn't mean that we're disloyal. We're actually more loyal than the ones who keep believing in the lies, because we're exposing the lies and wanting to make this a better place, as opposed to those who want to live in this illusionist pretend world because it, like you said, it suits their interests, and that's it.
I don't know. I didn't want to get this deep on the first weekend of football, but we are.
Well, hey, at least we got our points across. But what I had brought up before you got here, and then you mentioned it yourself, is that if you did watch the game, you saw the progression of the Raiders essentially get a little bit better. My criticism for the first quarter is that they looked horrible. I think the Carolina Panthers outplayed them the first two quarters, the first half of the game. Because think about it, the Carolina Panthers, like we all mentioned, came in with the new offensive coordinator, a new head coach, a new quarterback. And if you watch the first few series of the game, I think they outplayed the Raiders. They seem like they're the ones who have been together for years.
Almost back.
So, yeah, I touched on the same points earlier that you brought up too, because one of the things I told Zenny is that their defense was horrible. Even Jonathan Abram, if you watch a press conference, the Raider press conference, he said they were sloppy. And I suspect that's going to continue to happen. I mean, you got two rookie cornerbacks, and you got new defensive players that don't know the schemes. And then the one defensive caller, Kotowski, was out of the game. He's out with a pectoral injury. Who knows if he's going to return or whether or not that injury is going to last for a long time. But he was basically the defensive quarterback. He called out the plays.
Yeah, obviously, as soon as they said he wasn't coming back, I'm thinking in my head, immediately I was thinking, okay, who are they going to pick up in free agency that could come in and fill a role? And I couldn't think of no names. I mean, Vontez Burfict is still out there. I don't know if he's in shape or not, but I'd give him a chance.
Yeah, what do you have to lose? I was thinking the same thing. When he went out, I was thinking the same thing. I go, who are they going to pick up?
You know, and then hopefully when because like Vontez Burfict, he was just suspended for last season, and that was it, right?
Yeah.
So he should be eligible to come back as long as he's in shape.
And that's the thing. I mean, he's older. Who knows if he is in shape, especially with the COVID thing? He probably figured his career was over. Who knows if he even trained?
Right. But hopefully he trained and he stayed in shape. Raiders might want to kick those tires and see what's going on.
You know, the one thing I wanted to bring up, since we have a little bit of time, is that watching this game is always the same criticism that I have. I like to concentrate on the positive, but let's just put it out there, is that the inability of Derek Carr to scramble. The first quarter, he just seemed scared, like he was going to get hit. Because when you compare that to Bridgewater, this guy scrambled, and he was patient in the pocket, stepped up, ran for probably 5-6 yards, and I think at one time more than a 10-yard run. And you don't see that with Derek Carr. He every time that he feels the pressure, he throws the ball out.
Right.
He even got called for intentional grounding.
Right. And you know what? I remember because I went to camp in Napa 3 or 4 times last year, and I seen him run in camp. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, maybe we're going to see this in the game now. Maybe he feels comfortable enough to start running in the game, take off. But no.
And I think because I think he runs in practice because he knows he's not going to get hit.
Yeah.
So, but you're right. I mean, I don't know what it is. I mean, he needs to take a chance. It's the first game, and, it just seemed like he was scared. I mean, when it comes to those pressure points, when they start rushing him and they get a little too close, he kind of like buckles.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of right now he's reminding me of a Jets quarterback. I cannot think of him. It's gonna come to me.
An old school one?
Huh?
Vinny Testaverde?
No. This guy, he played at the University of Davis. And then he got drafted by the New York Jets. But every time
I know who you're talking about. I want to say no, not Ken O'Brien. Ken O'Brien was with the Bengals.
Brian.
Ken O'Brien?
You're right.
Ken O'Brien. Okay. Ken O'Brien. That's called automatic brain because mentally I was sure I was wrong, but I just blurted that out. That was coming from in here. That's age for you. Brady and company are on the move. They're at midfield, and there goes I think with his Leonard Fournette, number 28. So they spelling him, and there's a fight, by the way. Mike Evans is fighting somebody. Not sure if that's a good idea. There's a flag. And here's the replay. Mike Evans and Lattimore have been going at it, but Evans has been beating him up. So now he slaps him. And he slaps him back, and then, boy, Mike Evans took Lattimore's helmet off. So the outcome of this is going to be interesting. Mike Evans.
I'll be right back. I'll take care of something.
Okay. Anyway, getting back to what we were saying, though, I think, catch me up because I think I heard one of you all were saying that the NFL kind of watered it down, or what was the outcome of that conversation?
No, we agreed that, okay, so what we talked about was basically this. After the reports of the booing in the Kansas City game.
That was fake.
Huh?
That was fake.
Okay.
I actually about this because there is. I made a whole blog about this. In fact, I'll call it up here.
I'll watch it.
Okay. Yeah. No one's been able to prove that I was wrong about that because you could walk into that game, right up until kickoff. So who's to stop, given the fact that the Trump organization has $1 billion campaign budget and they've been knowingly buying people to show up at rallies? What's to stop them from knowingly buying tickets for their volunteers to be there and then boo, okay, when the players hold hands, all to show the illusion from their point of view that the country is still really, truly, absolutely divided, okay? Something that more and more people are beginning to realize we've been manipulated into thinking this. And a lot of very important people now are really coming around to the realization that this is a political trick to get so that guy could get reelected or try to. It's really ugly. But anyway, you were saying.
So we were saying that, with that being aside, that the NFL used that to step back to say, you know what, maybe it's not a good idea to lift every voice across the nation and have even more negative publicity, even more negative stuff going on with the NFL. We're just going to sidestep it however we can and move on with our game.
Tom Brady got sacked. Wow.
He's not having a good game.
No, he's going to be pissed off. Now I'm feeling, yeah, he's trying to middle screen. He turned around the other way because the middle screen wasn't there, and he almost lost the ball. So, yeah, they had a middle screen design, but even the way it was designed, the Saints were all over it. This is one on the Saints defense. No, he wasn't. Well, my mom is saying he's having. Bruce Arians is not Bill Belichick.
Well,
yeah. Wait, was the ball fumble? Was it fumble? It's a fumble. Saints got the ball back.
Oh, wow.
The Saints got the ball back. No. It wasn't interception. This was a field goal attempt that was blocked. Wow. Cleanly blocked. Wow. Boy, oh boy. The Saints came
saying that,
the Superdome. I'm sorry, go ahead.
In camp, they were bad weeks. They were turning in bad practices the last couple of weeks.
Hey, can you explain? Somebody said that Carr was scared of what?
Oh, because we were talking about his inability to be mobile and rush as a quarterback. And we've seen Teddy rush, for a few yards, but we didn't see Derek Carr run out of the pocket. And when he does run out of the pocket, he throws the ball away. And then there's a couple of things that we saw that we thought were negative, like the intentional grounding when he did run out of. I mean, yeah, there was a defensive end near him, but he could have ran further out the box, threw the ball down the field, no problem. He pulled that trigger a little too early when he's throwing away the ball, because he's one of the quarterbacks that I've noticed that he gets a lot of intentional groundings during the course of a season. So that's what we were saying. We were saying, that he's out there playing scared.
Yeah, I think. Hold on, let me answer. Because I do. Just for a few minutes. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Well, except that Derek Carr is not asked to run by design, or I've said this before, I'll say it again, that John doesn't have a set of sprint or rollout passes for him that are design runs. Because if you have a quarterback you say is not mobile, then rather than just, have a coaching staff that sort of whines about him not being mobile and then dreams for having a mobile quarterback, you make him mobile. You make him move. And the only way you make him move is to design plays that call for movement. Right? That's logical. So that's on the Raiders. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. That's on the Raiders. Right now, the Buccaneers are in a snit. This is a good game. Hey, what I'm going to do is this. We'll come back later tonight, and I'll close. I want to do this wrap up, but wrap us up. Close us out with this. Donald, what do you think about the Raiders win as we so we can sit down and watch the rest of these great contests? In fact, we've got the contest at the Taj Mahal at 8:30 our time.
Right.
And by that, I'm talking about at SoFi Stadium. I'm actually really excited to see the stadium itself. I can't wait, man. Woo. That's the eighth wonder. That is the eighth wonder of the world. That place is just, you know what? Normally, when you build a stadium or any grand design a building that has large scale, there's always a place where you have to cut back here or there. The model is far different than the actual design, right? But not in this case. The actual building looks just like the first models I saw. No change. That's incredible. And that's something to be said. I remember even with the Raiders, since we're talking about the historic first game of the Raiders outside of Oakland since they left for LA, but I remember the first drawings of the expanded Coliseum with the east side. The east side was supposed to have an overhang. Did you know that? It was supposed to have an overhang. But because the eventual cost that they were proposing was, the total was $853 million. And that was too much, very much more than what the city wanted to even be associated with, because Oakland's been cheap that way, to be honest. So we didn't do it. But by contrast, no fear here. So your thoughts closing out? I'm going to close out.
Closing out. As far as the Raiders are concerned, I see room to be optimistic. So hopefully that team will be okay. As far as SoFi Stadium is concerned, folks, that stadium cost as much as a nuclear submarine. $5 billion. Contemplate that. It better be awesome. Everything better go off without a hitch tonight, as far as that game is concerned. That game is Dallas and the Rams. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. The Rams without Todd Gurley, that's going to be weird. That's going to be really weird for me. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that game, and I can't wait to give you guys an update at the end of the night on the Saints and the Buccaneers, because I told you guys that's one of the games I was keying in on, and I told you guys that the Packers would blow out the Minnesota Vikings. They are not playing this year. They have come to kick butt and take names. And that's all I got to say. Close this show out. Good afternoon, everybody. We'll see you guys later on this evening.
And Donald, thank you for closing us out, and we'll be back later tonight. And thank you for all the support that you've given us. and we'll see you later. Okay, see ya.